Welcome inside episode 470 of the Locked On Senators podcast. I'm Ross Levitan on the outskirts of enemy territory in Winnipeg, Manitoba, alongside Brandon Pillar up in the Blue Mountain, and the Ottawa Senators are in Calgary just waiting for Thursday.
We're all waiting, wishing, and hoping that this game does go on as planned up against the Flames. But another person waiting for their game to get started, Ross, is Tyler Boucher, as he is now in Ottawa with the 67s.
We'll let you know when he could make his OHL debut. We're getting a return to the AHL for Filip Gustavsson. Meanwhile, I'll ask Pilsy if that was the right move in a now crowded Senators crease. And how do we forget this? Jake Sanderson has accepted an invitation to play at the Olympics. So stay tuned for all that. Plus, we've got a Sen Central citizen all the way from Wales. We've got Karam on today's show. It's going to be a great one. Let's get to it. This is the Locked On Senators podcast, your team every day.
Locked On Senators, your daily podcast on the Ottawa Senators. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
Today is Tuesday, January 11th, and Pilsy, was there any surprise for you that it was Filip Gustavsson reassigned to the minors?
Well, a goalie-friendly show, so let's get right to the attendees, Ross. And not really. I think this was the right move for a number of reasons. First, let's start off with the fact that Philly franchise needs to play games. This guy hasn't played since the Islanders. He's barely played this season with Matt Murray up and down, Forsberg, in and out of COVID protocol. Even with those, he hasn't got that many games in. And this is your biggest goalie prospect. You need to get him playing in games, regardless of where they are. And I think Belleville's a good spot for him because now he's going to go down. He's going to be told, look, you're the starter. You're the number one. You're going to take on a lot of these games. And Ross, like I mentioned a couple episodes ago, this month of January for Belleville is absolutely critical because they're going up against almost all divisional rivals. And in the AHL, you got to beat your divisional rivals if you have a chance of making playoffs. So it's good to bring him down for reinforcements. And Belleville's playing a lot more games these days, hopefully, than the Ottawa Senators. So it does make a lot of sense.
Yeah, no, the Belleville Sens play 21 games in the next 46 days. So you can extend that busy schedule all the way through February. 21 games in the next 46 games. And that busy stretch starts tomorrow night in Toronto. They've got a 3 p.m. start. They've got a couple of afternoon weird time games coming up. So 3 p.m. Eastern on Wednesday in Toronto. Then they play Friday. Then they play Saturday. And then they play Monday. And that game's at noon on Monday in Syracuse, the weekend matchups against the Rochester Americans. So tough tests, but I'm glad to see Filip Gustavsson back. Doesn't need waivers either, so it's the easiest of the three, right? Let's go through it one by one. Matt Murray, well, you were just there. He spent 4 weeks in Belleville, and despite only playing in 2 games, he had that stinker. The whole team stunk against Toronto Maple Leafs on New Year's Day. So what would that say to his confidence in your confidence in him as an organization? If you just put him right back to the minors afterwards? I don't think you do that.
And who does that serve, right? Like who wins from sending Matt Murray down there? No one, really.
He already had one long flight by himself to get back to the minors, right? As he was reassigned when the team was in Anaheim. Imagine they did it again when they're out in Alberta. It's just not how you treat a veteran goalie. Give him a couple more chances, see how that goes. Whereas with Anton Forsberg, this guy's maybe your hottest trade commodity if he keeps up his hot play through what he's put up 5-1 in his last 6 starts. So you're not going to put him on waivers and have nothing back when you lose him. So it's just a rational decision. But when you look at how little Gustafsson's played, his last start, December 7th against the New York Islanders, he's only played 2 games since November.
Yeah.
So this is a guy who needs to get into the pipes. Would you wait until Friday, though, to make his return to Belleville?
Yeah, I think maybe you give Sogard the start. Just give Gustafsson a little time to get acclimated to being back down there in Belleville. And also, too, Ross, this is good because that was a lot for 2 young goalies in Mando and Sogard to have to take over the crease in Belleville and be responsible night in and night out for AHL team when they're so early into their pro careers themselves. So having Gus, a guy who's been there a couple seasons, who's used to the grind of the AHL, I think that'll help out a lot. And another thing, Ross, is they could have done a different route since Anton Forsberg, and this is why he's such a hot trade commodity. He's like making less than $1 million. They could have put him on their taxi squad for the time being and kept Gus and Murray as a tandem there. But then you're running into the same problem here, right? Like Gus isn't going to get enough starts. Forsberg, your hot trade commodity, isn't going to get any starts. And then you're relying on Matt Murray to take over and be a number one goalie. I don't think anyone thinks that that is the correct move right now. So really sending Gus down to Belleville is the right move. And hopefully we see some more good Forsberg starts, boost his trade stock for the trade deadline. And hopefully we see Matt Murray at least get into a rhythm here. Like it's not even asking too much to just get in a couple games and don't get absolutely shelled. Just try to keep your team in the game for a little while and be consistent here. That's what we're looking for.
They've got a tough test up ahead, right? The Calgary Flames have been playing some great hockey this year. They had their own COVID issues a little while ago, so they've been playing a pretty sparing schedule as well. They've lost 3 in a row, but we'll have a full preview of that game coming up on tomorrow's show. We don't know much about the lineups. Again, we'll touch on that tomorrow. We also have Carson Latimer, who we have to wish a happy belated birthday, not only to Carson Latimer, but the K-Train, Tyler Clevin, turned 20 yesterday. Lats just turned 19. So a couple Sens prospects born on the same day, just like Colin White and Thomas Chabot later this month, both born on January 31st. Super strange. I don't even know what you'd call that. It's not
coincidence.
Coincidence. Thank you, Pilsy. It's not a coincidence, but it's more expected that Tyler Boucher has been assigned to the OHL, to the Ottawa 67s. And it's so up in the air because the OHL, they keep pushing back when they want to make their return. But I just can't wait to see this guy. We keep going back and talking about him because the OHL is just tailor-made for what this guy's going to bring to the ice. So I'm excited and I'm hopeful, Pilsy. I'm hopeful that it's going to be this Friday that he makes his OHL debut.
Yep, at home up against the Peterborough Petes. That would be great, especially since Peterborough, they don't have Mason McTavish anymore, right?
Correct.
So that's a little easier of a matchup, that's for sure.
They just traded for your boy Chase Stillman, though.
Oh, damn. Okay. Well, that's interesting then. You get a little different mix in there, although McTavish is a little bit ahead of Stillman. That's for sure. But also, it's crazy for the 67s, Ross, to be able to bring in Tyler Boucher as he was selected 143rd in the OHL priority selection in 2019. Obviously, that's because he had been committed to college for years, and it was expected he was going to stay there. But look at that value, getting a 10th overall NHL draft pick that you selected 143rd. They got to be pretty happy about that.
Oh, yeah. And you see that time and time again where stars who are going the college route, it's like, why not? Just take a flyer on them, and if they change their mind, then all of a sudden you got Tyler Boucher, hopefully in the top 6. But again, when's the last time Tyler Boucher played? I feel like it's 2020 all over again from that standpoint, where it's like these guys just have to play games no matter what. So let's keep our fingers crossed that the Petes are in Ottawa to take on the 67s on Friday night. And we do know that although sparingly, he has been skating a little bit in Belleville, both on his own and with the baby Sens. So we'll touch on that on Monday. We might even have to get into it on the postcast, assuming that we're able to do one after each and every Sens game. You know, we have the postcast right here on Locked On Senators. Pilsy's going to be boots on the ground in the Peg. So we're going to get that Calgary game in together, and then we'll hit up the postcast afterwards before we make our pilgrimage to the Palace on the Prairies for a couple games of future Olympian Jake Sanderson. But we're going to get to that after. Let's touch on a Sens Central citizen, Pilsy. Another great conversation with a Sens fan abroad.
Yeah, we're crossing the pond again, heading to Wales, which it always amazes me that there's so many fans over in UK, over in Europe, that are able to follow along with the NHL. And he was saying games for him are like 1 a.m. or something like that. Yeah, right around there. So that's a grind to stay up, and then you're up till like 2-3 in the morning, and then you got to start your work day the next day at regular time. So definitely shout out all the Sens fans out there that are hanging on and keeping their passion going.
Yes, I'm excited to chat with Karam, but before we do, we've got a word from one of our favorite sponsors. If you have a beard, you got to get Primal. Yeah, you heard that right. If you got beard, you have to get Primal. If you or someone you care about has a beard, it needs to get Primal. Maybe you haven't heard the benefits of considering treating your beard with product. Well, let me tell you about Primal Origin Oils. It'll stop the itch and make your beard feel healthy and groomed. Their goal is to help others look good and live healthier lives through the use of natural oils. The products are free from harmful synthetic ingredients and have a low impact on our planet. Primal Origin Oils makes balms, oils, and whipped butters that are renowned as the best feel-in beard products available. This is due to the exotic carrier blend with oils like raspberry seed, rosehip, and chia seed oils. Check out primaloriginoils.com to learn more about their full line of beard care products. Use the promo code LOCKEDON for 20% discount at checkout. It's a must-have in the winter, especially, you get itchy, scratchy. You don't want that. We know every company claims to have the best, but Primal Origin Oils challenges you to compare their ingredients and feel in their beard products, and you'll see then feel the difference. Just remember, our promo code is locked on. That's promo code locked on, and it gets you a 20% discount at primaloriginoils.com. So use the code locked on at checkout for 20% off. It's primaloriginoils.com. All right, here's this week's Sens Central Citizen. It's Karam. All right, we now welcome this week's Sens Central Citizen. Once again, going across the pond, we're welcoming on Karam. You can follow him on Twitter at @IShadster. Karam, what's going on, buddy? Welcome.
Hi, guys. Well, thanks for having me, guys. It's a pleasure.
Man, we've been going across the globe for this, eh, Pilsy?
Yeah, we're getting our air miles in virtually, that's for sure. But Graham, we love hearing that there's still some Sens passion, no matter how far, what ocean you got to cross here. And crossing the Atlantic, you're in Wales. Tell us a little bit about yourself, how you're a Sens fan. When did you make your way over to Wales? Because you're originally from the Ottawa area, right?
So I grew up in the south, in Ottawa South, and I went to school there and everything. I sort of, my first ever memory of the Sens was Spartacat actually came to my school. So nice. I remember that whole like massive sort of party kind of thing, and they were giving out tickets and stuff, but I wasn't lucky enough, to be honest. But I remember watching, what was it, the Hamburglar run?
Yeah, 2015.
So that was amazing. And a bit before, in 2013, do you know the playoffs with the Canadians?
Yes.
With the massive brawl and the Greiber hit and the whole lot. So I show people from around here when they're into the hockey and they want to look at the fights. I just show
that's the first one.
Yeah, that's a good one to introduce how things go. Yeah,
we own them and that.
Yeah, and then just tell them to YouTube search Brian McGrattan or Chris Neal, and then you've got an entire catalog
Chris
there.
Neal, yeah.
So what year was it that you moved over to Wales?
So it was May of 2014. I left Ottawa. I was about 10 or 11. I moved over to the UK, so fresh start, be a bit closer to family. And been here since. Haven't been able to come back. Obviously, COVID sort of threw it into the mix last year as well. Well, past 2 years actually. But I'm here following the Sens. A couple late nights because if it's a 7 p.m. start in Ottawa, then it's a 12 a.m. start here. So, we keep it going. Follow the playoffs when we were there. 2017 run was magical, but not too much. Magical at the moment, but
I want to get into that afterwards. But how important was, if you moved in 2014, the next season was the Hamburglar run? Like, was that super important into being like, man, I'm keeping this team even though I'm moving away?
So I moved here, and then I was I wasn't staying up too much at that time because I was a bit younger. But I remember watching it, and I was like, oh my god, that was magical. Like, that was crazy. Because what did he go? It was something crazy. His record was like 20 and. What was it? I can't even remember it.
It's crazy. I've got it on the top of my head. 21 and 2.
And 2, that's the one. 21 and 2.
Allowing an average of 6 goals on every 100 shots. 940 save percentage. Insane.
that magical, and I will never forget when what was the Philadelphia game at the end?
The last game of the year.
Game,
that was
and
clutch.
Stoner with the
steel snipe Sally takes it right off the defense and stick at the offensive blue line, and from there you knew that the magic was really happening, and it almost continued. Remember, they lost the game. I think they got an empty netter, but it was 1-0, and Pajot scored, but it was a quick whistle, the Carey Price whistle. You get the refs involved there,
tough.
but
it was,
man, 20 wins in 23 games to make the playoffs on the last day, like
unbelievable.
That has to be even like easily a top 3 memory for me. I've been following the team since like the 90s, so well, that's unbelievable, and definitely something you can cling on to for the leaner years afterwards.
Oh yeah, I know. You can't really see it, but I've got pictures above me in the blurred. So basically, I've got my Canada flag up here. If you can't really see it, it's a bit blurred. I've got my Wales flag up here. Yeah. But right in the middle is just a bunch of pictures I printed off. So I know one was the infamous 5-1 down return comeback against Toronto. And then the other one one's a picture of Carlson, with in Parliament Hill.
So, nice. Yeah, with Parliament in the background.
And then I got one from the 2017 playoffs.
Nice.
There you go.
Which one from the playoffs?
I think
there's some epic photos.
They're just basically hugging each other at the end, to be honest.
Nice.
I don't know which game it was from, but it was a home game. I'm pretty sure it was
go ahead.
The New York game with
Pajot. Nice. Why not?
Yeah, so you got some good memories there. So now you moved to Wales, the Hamburglar run happens, you're sticking with it. You got buddies or family and friends that are also following the Sens, or it's 1 a.m. in the morning and you're just making coffee for yourself and and watching the game on your own, or do you at least get to share it with some people?
Pilsy, you could say he's on an island out there.
Yes, you could say that.
Literally. But I've managed to sort of get some friends here. Oh, they're not really into the Sens. They just look at me and they're like, what are you doing? I remember two of my friends, they just picked a team. So one picked Pittsburgh, ironically in 2017.
Interesting. Yeah.
Ironically in 2017. And the other one picked Nashville.
Okay.
And then
who Ottawa would have beaten if they beat Pittsburgh.
Exactly. Yeah.
Final.
Trust me, I watched there's a video on YouTube. It's like a 40-minute video that goes through the whole of the playoffs.
Yeah.
And I can't count how many times I've watched it, and I'm just like one goal away, that knuckle puck. It's like it's really hard for us, really.
Yep.
Hopefully, the only way is up now, isn't it? Like,
that's for sure.
Yeah, you got look at all the prospects.
Yeah. What are the reaction that you get from your friends when you tell them you're a Sens fan and then they pull it up and it's like, wow, they've won like 50 games in the last 4 years combined? I
just tell them to wait. The only way is that like, the thing is, what I mentioned is obviously I sort of have a following of the hockey team, and I know the prospects and obviously who's in the NHL now,
right? And
they're all how young are. It's one of the youngest teams in the league, maybe, hopefully. But and so the only way is that they're only developing now and they're only getting into their own games. So I just say to them, long story short, just wait because I'm hopeful. I got faith.
I'd say so.
You have to.
And then once they start winning, you got to make the pilgrimage back to the CTC and get into a game. What do you think that vibe, or what's going to go through your mind the second that you walk into that arena? Because we know it's going to happen someday.
It is going to happen someday, but I have no clue, because it's something that 8 years on, I'm still dreaming of that since I left. And I remember my memories in the Canadian Tire Center. I'd tell you I think it was 3 games I went to, and we've not won one that I went to. So I was a bit of a bad luck charm, I think. So
Brandon and I are the opposite. When we go to games together, we're 3-0. So maybe we'll all have to go together and
we'll let you know when we're going. Even things out
we'll have to try something like that, to be honest with you. But one game, it was my first ever game, was against the Kings. I don't know what year, but we lost. I remember that. I remember Leonard was in goal. It's one of the only things I remember because I was quite young. The other game, I went to a Habs game. I think Montreal won it in overtime. And the other one was in New York, the Rangers game, and we got thrashed. I think it was like 8 to something. It was one of those games. And then my dad was just like, I think the 8th goal went in. He was like, let's just leave. I'm not dealing with the traffic to get out of Connacht, because Connacht it is in the middle of nowhere. And we lived in the south, so it was quite the drive. So he was just like, let's go.
Yeah, that's at that point it's fair to beat the traffic when eight goals have happened and you're like, we're not really sticking around for much more here.
But I was just trying to take it in. It was just like the whole experience. I'll never forget it because I've got a picture somewhere. But I got my puck. Remember those puck hats that you can get?
The foam ones.
I've got that hung up over there. It's not moved for years, but
that's awesome. So that game you went to against the Kings, was that around Christmas time?
I feel like it was. Yeah,
I've got the game pulled up
Ross
right
is
here.
on the case.
Sens lost 5-2. Although they made it a game, they're down 3-0. They brought it back 3-2. You got
that does ring back a couple bells. Yeah,
Erik Karlsson and Joe Corvo getting on the score sheet.
Oh wow,
for the Ottawa Senators.
That's a name that I've not seen and heard in a while, to be honest.
No doubt. And I mean, you look at the roster from there, lots of guys. Well, everybody's moved on, obviously. But when I'm looking at that roster, the real question I have for you is the last time you went to a Sens game outside of Erik Karlsson, because I'm assuming that's going to be the answer. Who was the one player that you were most excited to go see?
I don't know. I'm trying to think if it was.
You got Bobby Ryan, Jason Spezza, Chris Phillips on the team. Nealer was there. Milan McCulloch, Clark MacArthur.
I was going to say, Chris Neal was definitely one that I'd love to see, just because you have like a sort of thing. Is he going to do something? Is he going to do this? Is he going to do that?
Every shift, eh?
Yeah, every shift. And obviously outside Erik Karlsson, I'm not sure. Just trying to think if Alfie was there at the time, but Alfie was someone who I obviously wanted to see massively.
Yeah, no, that would have been the year that he left. Way to bring up that memory.
I was gonna say that's right around there. So to bring it to today's team, then, Karam, who are guys if you get a chance to come back to the CTC that you're stoked to see on today's team?
I'd love to see. Well, to be honest, just the top two lines. I'm not even gonna lie. It's just I can't really nail it down to one. But like, if I do have to nail it down to one, it has to be Chucky or Jimmy. To be honest, those are two players. There's just no shade on Batherson or Norris, but I don't know. Something about them I just need to see for some reason.
Yeah.
What was your reaction? I know what ours was, but the day Brady signs that long-term deal on the same day that the season opens.
Relief.
Yes.
That's the big one. Yeah.
It was big relief because you didn't know how long it was going to go on for.
Yeah.
Especially because, you hold the whole stigma around the Tkachuks. It's kind of like they are together. So they're not going to back down. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it was getting to a point where weeks up to the opening game, you're like, all right, when is he going to sign? And then it was getting to a point where panic was starting to settle in and you're like, is he going to sign?
I remember going,
whoo. So that was a big moment of relief. Yeah, definitely. That's the right way to describe it.
I remember when he signed and I was trying, I'm obviously really excited, but no one else understands why. So I remember
that's a tough one to explain.
I remember I got a notification on my phone of his tweet because Chucky tweeted back that tweet.
Here we go.
Everything off.
The Joker.
Yeah.
And that was it. I seen it and I was like, it's happening. And then I seen the Senators tweet and I was like, oh my God. I'm pretty sure I was in my mate's house at the time. And they were like, why are you like all of a sudden you just sat there like that? And then all of a sudden you're just ecstatic. And I was like, we just signed. And they had no clue because they don't know the magnitude of the player or anything like that. But it's like, that is a big signing. And when that happened, it was just
Do you get weird looks in the UK when you're swearing at a guy named Tierney? Because isn't he a pretty popular name out there as a footballer?
It is, yeah, that's true, yeah. So they just get a bit confused,
Yeah, they're like, what? He doesn't do anything wrong. What do you mean?
He's not on ice.
Yeah, well, Tierney, I mean, he scores goals like a soccer player. Doesn't use his hockey stick. He just bounces it off of him or he kicks it in.
100%. Hey, Karam, this has been fun. Last question I got is, we already talked about how you're staying up late, you're watching all the games, but what is going to make you happy watching this team for the rest of the year? We know it's not all about wins and losses. They're going to be playing a lot, though. What are you hoping to see for a sign of things to come here going forward?
I'll be honest, one of the first things I want to see is just the goaltending sort of stabilize.
Yeah.
I'll be honest, that is one major factor that sort of, I don't know, we could, the hamburger run happened, anything can happen. Do you know what I mean?
Honestly.
I'm not saying
the Forsbergler, man. Come on.
The Forsberg, you can't forget about Forsberg. But goaltending will need to stabilize. I want, people finding their groove.
Yeah.
So people will find their groove, and then you'll know when the team sort of starts to click all of a sudden. And that's just once I see, goaltending stabilize, couple wins. Obviously, wins are nice, but once they sort of gain the chemistry, then that's gonna be amazing.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing, right? We can all kind of sense the pieces are there. It's just going to take a little time. And like you tell your mates back where you are, just wait. So when you're telling them just wait, and they're saying, okay, how long? How long do you think they're going to have to wait until the Senators are Stanley Cup contenders? Not just making the playoffs, but when they're heading into the playoffs, you're like, that's a team that could go all the way. What year do you think that will finally be a possibility?
That's a good question. You don't know, because I feel like, the pieces like Sanderson needs to come in. So I'll give it a good 2 years, a couple years. It'll be
2025. You're telling your buddies to look at that. Yeah. All right.
Well, because when the 2017 playoffs happened, they knew I was following it, and they knew that we got close, and then they just sort of they went quiet, after the whole thing. Don't want to mention it again, but it's called cursed. And we just sort of I don't know how else to put it, but we fell off a cliff pretty much. We were quite up there. We went on a magical run, and then so then they're just like, what happened?
Don't talk.
Don't talk about it. Just wait. Just wait.
Final question. How'd you get a reverse retro jersey out overseas? How long did that take? I need to hear the story.
I remember it did take a while. I did say I did rob this off my sister, but it did take a while. Unfortunately, it's a Fanatics one. And I remember going on Twitter and asking, what is the difference? I had no clue. But I've still yet to order my own jersey. I'm a fan of the reverse retro, but I love the black.
You gotta go black. You need one.
Brandon, I am jealous of your Stutzer jersey just back there, to be honest with you.
Oh yeah, highly recommend.
And your Hasek one, to be honest.
But now that Brady has the C, it's hard to not get a Kachuk one with the C. So I wouldn't blame you for going that route either.
It's tempting. But they're expensive.
I know.
They're not cheap. Like, I think, just off the Ottawa team shop, I think just the shipping, just to ship overseas, is just an extra 100 Canadian.
Oh wow! So you're looking at like a $400 jersey.
Yeah.
So it is a bit gonna break the bank when I do it. But I'm gonna press buy soon.
Yeah.
Nice.
Well, hey, or you just manage whenever the world gets a little more back to normal, you buy it at the arena.
Yeah.
And you get your ass back to the CTC.
I can't wait for that day, but I'm hoping to come in for Canada Day this year.
Okay.
Cool.
Obviously, a bit out of the hockey season.
Stanley Cup final might be still going the way the season's working.
Well, the postponed games will probably still be going at that time.
Well, you get hyped for the draft. The draft is the 7th, so there you go.
There you go.
Yeah.
So 7th. I think 7th or 8th is when I'd fly out. So my plan is to come out.
Okay. Yep.
But the thing is, I'd want to obviously come for hockey season, and I love the winter stuff, and the canal. I miss the canal. Like, I remember going to the outdoor rinks and playing and all that kind of stuff, and I'm homesick. I can say that.
For sure. Man, well, we're excited. This is going to be a piece of home. So everyone go follow him. Shadster. It'll make him feel a part of Sen's arm. We know you Brits and I'm you United Kingdomites. What do you call it? Like, you're in Ottawa. Anyways, you guys have a 6 Sense following. There's a bunch of you guys.
There is a couple of it. Yeah, there is a couple of us up and down. I know there's a guy in Scotland. There's a couple of ones scattered around, and it's growing strong.
You guys are representing.
Strong. Yeah. Keeping the red going here.
Well, keep it going all the way from Bangor in Wales. This is awesome, Karam. Really appreciate it. We'll keep interacting with you online and hope to do this again down the road.
Of course, anytime, guys. It's a pleasure.
Stick taps to Karam for joining us. That was a great conversation. I'm always so intrigued at how the passion lives on once people leave the city of Ottawa. He mentioned as well that connection to your hometown. So great to have Karam on, Pills?
Oh, yeah. Like we said, we love having people from across the planet on, and great accent, too. You got to love that. And he's a Sens fan through and through, so keep following along and keep cheering on the boys.
I don't know if I'm going to recommend following along with your parlay of the day. We're going to introduce a new segment in our BetOnline read called Book It. But until then, Pillsy, let's book it with another one of your parlays. If people are going to follow or fade you, how would they go about getting 50% welcome bonus on their first deposit?
50%, Ross?
50%.
Well, what you're going to do is you're going to head to betonline.ag. They're the trusted online sportsbook for the Locked On Podcast Network and the Locked On Senators podcast. So head to betonline.ag today. Put in a new account. You can sign up for free. Log in, sign up, and use our promo code Locked On. That's going to get you a 50% welcome bonus, like Ross mentioned. So how that works is you put $100 in your first deposit. They're going to welcome you with 50% of that. So $100, you get $50 in your free play account, and that money you can use to bet over-unders, props, money line, reverse puck line. NFL football playoffs are coming up. Get in on the action. That's what I'm talking about, guys. Get off the sidelines and get into the action. We're all cooped up at home, not much to do. Well, why not throw a couple shekels on the sports game you're watching and have a little fun along the way? So head to betonline.ag today, sign up and make your account, and use our promo code LOCKEDON to get your 50% welcome bonus. It's betonline.ag, your online sportsbook experts.
All right, Pilsy. So it's official. Ian Mendez has spoken with Jake Sanderson, and the kid is going to the Olympic Games.
That is all. Like, what a year for Jake Sanderson, eh? Like, lighting it up at UND, captain of the men's team in the World Juniors. Unfortunately, that doesn't happen. But, Ross, when one door closes, a window opens, and the door to the World Juniors closed, but the window to Beijing and being an Olympian was wide open for Jake Sanderson, and that's where he's going. Like, to go from World Juniors captain of the Team USA to Team USA Olympian is something that probably will not happen very often. So what an amazing opportunity for Jake Sanderson. And like you said, from a selfish standpoint, we're pretty stoked about it because now it gives us a legitimate reason to tune into these games at all weird hours of the morning.
I think they're actually going to be more reasonable than you might think because the time zone is so far away. I think it's going to be like 11 p.m. midnight.
I don't understand time zones, so they throw me for a loop.
We have enough trouble figuring out the 1 hour between Winnipeg and Ontario. But that being said, it'll be a huge opportunity. He said it was a very easy decision.
Yeah, I mean, anytime you're asked to be an Olympian and asked to represent your country, that's usually something that you take with an honor, and you're like, yeah, I'll sign up for that. That's for sure.
Shout out at 613_sports. Right as we're talking about it, they just tagged us in a tweet literally 50 seconds ago with his schedule and the Eastern time that the games are at. So that's perfect. February 10th, first game for Jake Sanderson at the Olympics is against China. At 8:10 a.m. 8 a.m. 8 a.m. start. So
that's great.
Yeah, you love to see that. That's February 10th. Then the next night, he's playing at 11 p.m. against Canada. So that one, make sure you circle that twice. That'll be an exciting game. And then finishing off 2 days later against Germany at 8 a.m. So 2 8 a.m. games, 1 11 p.m. game. I think that's pretty reasonable.
Oh, yeah, we'll make that work for sure. And that's, hey, we'll take any content we can get. That's great content for us. So definitely cheering on Jake Sanderson. But still, we bleed red and white here, Ross. So Team Canada hopefully can come home with a gold medal.
100%. Silver will look good on him. He already has his gold from the World Juniors.
Yeah.
And this has been an up and down year. You said a great year for Jake Sanderson. Yeah, I'm not arguing that. But remember, he was supposed to go to the World Championships as well, but a paperwork issue got in the way.
Yeah.
So now he's got another opportunity here with the senior men's team, and they're going to go for a quest over to Beijing. And I just think this is going to be an awesome way for him to really play some high level, high stress hockey where you got a gold medal on the line. Like, say what you want about no NHLers, but the competition level is certainly going to be as high as possible.
Absolutely, yeah. And in 20 years, when Jake Sanderson's talking about going to the Olympics in Beijing, I don't think anyone's going to be arguing with him about the strength of competition or anything like that. It's the Olympics. And honestly, like, depending on how your argument of this goes, this is the way the Olympics should be. It's meant to highlight amateur athletes, right? It's supposed to be the best amateur athletes. So it makes sense that he's on his way there and that he gets a chance to represent Team USA. So it's awesome.
Speaking of the Olympics, Team Canada will announce its women's Olympic hockey team, and that's always an exciting event at the Olympic Games as well. I don't know if there's a more must-watch matchup than Canada versus USA in women's hockey.
No, it's incredible. The rivalry they've had is one for the ages, and they always turn out good hockey games. Whether you're dialed into women's hockey or not, that's one you got to circle, and you got to make sure it's appointment viewing.
You have to, as will be the Ottawa Senators game against the Calgary Flames. Are you expecting them to come out rusty like they did on New Year's Day? They look like they've been having fun at practice.
I am not expecting them to come out like they did New Year's Day, Ross, because it can't get much worse than that. So they can only go up from there. And now this is a healthy team too, right? Like, there's no one left on COVID protocol now for the Sens. So you've got Josh Norris back. You've got Thomas Chabot. Forsberg's back. So there's only positives here, but this is a really good Calgary team that has had some of the best goaltending in the entire league. So it's going to be tough to get goals on them.
We need to finish the show discussing maybe the weirdest news story, at least in terms of Ottawa Senators news of the season. Now, Yahoo did a story behind the story of a Senators fan who now has a massive tattoo of Josh Norris's face on his stomach. Yes, those words, they're true.
Yeah, this is a wild story. Yeah.
What were your thoughts when you saw them? Did you know it was Josh Norris right away?
I thought it was someone getting like a tattoo and it just happened to look like Josh Norris. And then with the digging, I was like, oh my God, that really is Josh Norris. Like that is insane that he went and did that. And what was he just wanted a signed jersey, or what was he asking for in return for doing this? Like where's the motive?
You have to go read this article. It's at yahoosports.com. I'm pulling up on YouTube. That is a photo of Mason Cone.
I love the Grinch too.
Yeah, I'm speechless at this. So here's a rundown of the story. After the game, he's trying to figure out what he wants to do. I don't know if he's trying to fire up the boys, but he DM'd Josh Norris on Instagram and said, if I get a life-size tattoo of your face on my stomach, can you send me an autographed jersey? And he got back to him like 6 hours later. He's probably just like, all right, I'll be nice to a fan here. Said, absolutely. I need proof it's a real tattoo, though.
Yeah, well, how's he going to prove it's real, though?
I have no idea. But less than 24 hours later, the tattoo appointment was booked. I guess he proved it by there's an Instagram story while he's in the chair.
Okay, well, there you go.
He's getting the tattoo done. And he said he would send me the jersey and ask for my address, and I haven't heard back from him since, and I never got the jersey. Do you think that Norris owes him a jersey, or is it more like a restraining order that he owes?
Yeah, if this hadn't already been agreed upon, then yeah, maybe call your lawyer, get a restraining order going on, cease and desist maybe too. But they talked about it. They agreed to it. I mean, for Josh Norris, that's the least you can do for this guy who's now got your face on his belly. And isn't his belly button like the soul patch of Josh Norris's face?
It is good. Where this story takes maybe its wildest turn, and yes, it could get more wild. He paid $1,000 American for that tattoo.
Yeah, tattoos are expensive.
I'm on a website right now, staring at a signed Josh Norris jersey for $390.
Oh no, yeah, that's a bad business decision there.
So initially he posted this on Reddit under the title, Josh Norris owes me a jersey.
Yeah, I think you got somehow, some way this guy needs a Josh Norris jersey. I mean, that is wild. They got to rally around this guy. He needs to be a mascot here.
If you know Mason Cone, you need to put him in touch with us because we need to.
Yeah, let's get him on the show. Yeah, I
need to ask this guy some questions. I love. Somebody said, "Oh, this is a lesson for him," and Laleem's Marsh and our boy replied and said, "It doesn't really look like a big lessons guy when you see he's got the tattoo of the Grinch with the cross."
I mean, he's still waiting on a signed autographed Santa jersey from the Grinch, so he hasn't learned his lesson here.
Oh my God, what an only the Ottawa Senators, Pilsy? Like the sickos are truly sickos.
Yeah, and especially a sicko move like Ross. We talk about like when you're picking names for the back of jerseys, you're like, maybe I don't want to pick a name of guys not signed long term. Massive risk getting a tattoo, life-size tattoo of a guy's face who is not signed long-term to the Ottawa Senators. Like that is a risk. So definitely, yeah, we got to talk to this guy. That's one hell of a story.
And Josh Norris, great player. But wouldn't you get, if it's a face on your belly, like one of the faces of the franchise, like either Brady or Shabby?
No, he has already got a Brady and Shabby signed jersey. So now he's going for the Norris one.
Unbelievable. Mason, if you're listening, buddy, we need to get you on the show. We need to have a conversation.
Yeah.
Big time. For today, we say goodbye, though, because tomorrow we've got another busy show. We've got Carson Latimer joining us. We're going to get in more of a preview to the Calgary game. Again, on the schedule right now. So I'm counting it for now that they will play Thursday night in Alberta, but we'll get more into that tomorrow. For Brandon Pillar, I'm Ross Levitan. This has been the Locked On Senators podcast, your team every day.